Really good, it's your boy, know what I mean? This is the new podcast live from the Child Support Men's Room where the men get to talk, you feel me? So we out here.
Silhouette and blue.
I'm not worried about that.
In a world where trans folk and queer folk are taking their own lives because of a lack of acceptance and or being hunted down and killed from a lack of acceptance, I will say that folks who are straight, if you appreciate the beauty of these people, it would be great for the sake of the rest of the motherfuckers in the room to say something that is affirming. It doesn't have to be anything that is, I'm trying to fuck. It can just be affirming. And it is enough to say, I see you and thank you. That's plenty.
Curtis, I see you. Nah.
And would you like to?
And you want some
No.
dick. No, I mean, it's enough to go around. How
No.
many married you got?
No.
And this, and what, I'm
I feel you.
exemplifying the too far, because you can go too far on the other side.
Yes.
And be too and fetishize the situation.
Well, yeah.
Fetishize the situation where you like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I could be y'all's special toy. And it's like,
No.
but
I can be, but I'd like to be. Y'all call me when y'all think y'all need something like that.
Well, call me when you just, you know what I mean? Just want to try some shit.
Man.
When you just a little bit drunk enough.
Yeah.
But no. These, you know, I appreciate being able to joke about this stuff and still hold respect and all of that stuff. You know, a lot of people in the internet verse aren't having these types of conversations and being able to be respectful.
Sure.
You know, so I would like to. If you believe in love,
Oh.
you find the strands of hair in yourself.
I like that. Yeah.
Turning around and shoulder shrugs. Oh. That's what I think she said.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it.
It ain't, but I like it. I fuck with that.
Do you know about the Drake lawsuit stuff? Are you like abreast to what's going on with Drake and his lawsuit issues?
No, the last time I checked in with Drake, he had the BBL and he was getting dog walked by Kendrick.
I think we all paused right there.
Yeah, right? Didn't that feel like where we all had to mind our business, let that man live?
We like, where the daughter at?
Yeah, like maybe his
Listen.
family should intervene. Doesn't feel like we should be involved anymore. Somebody go check on that man. He's probably taking a grippy sock vacation, as my wife would say.
A grippy sock vacation.
Please check yourself in the ECMC.
Hey,
They call that a grippy sock vacation.
Hey, ain't nothing like a Jet 2 holiday, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, sometimes you need one of them things.
Okay, well, when it comes to the whole controversy now, he sued his record label because Kendrick made that song. He felt like Kendrick was given inside information and given inside help to stream that song and push it.
Oh, he thinks somebody in his camp did that?
He think his team tried to play him because his contract was coming up.
Poor honey.
So the judge was like, you lost, nigga. Go home and do the reunion or something. Like, what are you doing? Go make an album,
Yeah, when
bro.
Jimmy come back to life after he got shot?
Jimmy.
Or whatever the fuck happened? He got shot and then
He
got
was
put in the
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Right. Roll up, nigga. Better go hang out with Meek Mills, nigga. You just did this to Meek.
It's not enough.
So after that, then he got not sued, but he's in legal trouble because some team of people he worked with are caught up in some gambling scandals that's got something to do with streaming
how
sales.
Kendrick has said.
Like how Kendrick said. So like he was trying to sue against.
Oh.
So now he's in that situation. And the reason I even brought that up is to say, like, when we talk about Drake, we're really talking about scale. You know what I'm saying? For this conversation.
Okay, yeah.
And, you know, he has massive success, massive visibility, and still questions about his ownership and control arise. You know what I'm saying? Ownership isn't just top level problems. It shows up in the local rooms, everyday decisions, and how artists choose to work when there's no spotlight. You know what I'm saying? So I want to bring that conversation closer. Okay. And I know you build everything live. You know what I'm saying? Your voice, you layer everything. Yeah. Even if you make mistakes, it's all in real time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to know, when you hear the word ownership, what does that actually mean to you as a day-to-day, as an artist that's on a not Drake scale so far?
Sure. I would say that ownership on any level for me means that I'm at the front of it. You know, okay, if I take ownership as it is immediately its definition, it means that it's mine. I own it. I get to call the shots on however it goes. And I am at the beginning and end of its production. I think also ownership means that there is a level of accountability and responsibility that I hold over the thing, no matter how it goes. And I like that I'm at this level, because this level means that I don't have anybody to talk to about that. It's just always me. Somebody want to reach out to me about the thing that I own and that I do, they're talking to me. And I like that. I can't imagine, you know, I was raised in doing theater and doing art in a very, I'm at the front of it and in the middle and at the end of it. So I can't imagine a world where I don't own it, or that I'm not the person responsible to it. So no matter what happens with my music, that's what I'd always want to be doing, is be able to be at the top, the middle, and the end of it, because shit gets weird. People start turning your thing into something else. They start deciding what it means for you. It can get commercial. And in the world of my music, it's not commercial. If somebody turned it commercial, it's immediately lost its meaning. And as the owner of it, I gotta police that. I gotta be keeping the standard there.
Great point. Well, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we'll shift from the business side into the work itself.
Okay. Speaking on our traumas, yeah, that could be good.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that the healing comes from realizing that you're not in survival mode anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's been 20 some odd years since I've been in a house where people was using drugs and fighting and chaos. Yes. So 10 years ago, none of that was happening. Right. But I was still like, man, when I grew up, and it took me to a place where I'm like, well, Donald, how long can you keep practicing those lines? Right. And, you know, of course, I turn things into theater. So I think that can be helpful as you continue to be a blessing to your whiz. You feel me?
Well, we're very honest. You know what I mean? I think what is a blessing about our relationship is that we are very honest with each other. We are very open. We're very vulnerable. You know, it's a very soft space that we have made for each other, which I'm not used to. I'm used to having to show up in a very specific kind of way that I don't have to here, which all the time we're both getting used to. We've only been married. We've been together 3 years, you know, about to be married for 2. And there's still some things about it that we're working out. And I have just found a place of real softness about the whole thing where I can really like get comfy. And that has a lot to do also with, you know, we worked together and last year really kicked both of our asses and there was no room for softness because everything that was happening around us was, you have to keep your head on a fucking swivel and these people will not know what to do with your softness, you know, which meant that then was a thing that we couldn't do for each other. That I think now that we're out of all of that bullshit, we can really like revisit and recalibrate. Which is exciting, you know, because in any other situation, I would have been like, I can't be with you no more. Right. You know, I got too much shit going on. You know, like if we were just dating, I would have taken the punk route and been like, I need to take a break because of the way this other stupid shit is whooping my ass. I can't possibly be as available as I know and want to be for this, you know. But because we were married, there was a way that we both were like, we're gonna hunker down, yep, and we're gonna ride out, and I'll see you, nigga, when I see you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And then we got to the end, and we were like, woo, nigga, I almost killed everybody. I almost stabbed somebody. Wasn't that crazy? I lost my mind, son. And she was like, yeah, but we both did it. And I'm like, yes. And we both did it.
Right.
Let's have sex.
Right. And then parfait. You know, like everybody loves parfaits.
Period.
Like if you don't love a parfait, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was a great explanation of why, for me, as a divorced person, it's a great explanation of why marriage is important for all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if you want to be married and put yourself in the institution of that type of relationship, then you learn all these other wonderful life lessons and resiliency and all these other wonderful things that humans need.
And all that shit that you were practicing on everybody else up until this moment, you really get to know the test of, you know what I mean? Like, how good is that tool of never running away when you have to stay? Is it as strong as you thought it was? You know what I mean? Like, is your ability for openness and vulnerability as good as you thought it was when every day you have to get up with this person and be open and honest and vulnerable? Is it as strong as you thought it was? Right. You know, like all of those tools that get like tested and then, you know, you move on from because some shit didn't work out. You're like, okay, well, whatever, that didn't work out, I'll move on to the next thing. You don't get to know the full test of those things until you're married and it's your everyday and it's your every 2 fucking seconds. You know, it's hard and it takes resiliency and it takes faith in yourself and the person that you're doing it with in a way that like there is no proper way to put word to. You just have to do it. Right. You know? Right.
And that's a wonderful way to put it. Man, see, when I have conversations with people of different walks of life, it doesn't turn into the political stuff we see online. So I enjoy just being able to have this dialogue and communication with you about it because everything you said helped me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So welcome back, everybody. We was just chatting it up. I'm here with Curtis Lovell, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. We were talking about ownership before, and you were talking about ownership of your voice, you know, and I noticed you don't just perform songs, you know what I'm saying? You build them live using looping as a language. Yeah. You know, and not just a trick, which I've seen people do, which is very entertaining as well. But I would like for you to walk me through what's happening in your head and body when you're building a song from nothing in front of people.
Okay, so I get this question a lot, and I never know how to answer it without sounding spooky. But the truth is, I'm never doing it alone. I'm in the space all the time with my loved ones and people and my ancestors. A lot of the content that I create, like a lot of the lyrics and sounds and all of those kind of things, I am finding within myself with my loved ones. Like I'm finding them with Tapelo, I'm finding them with Asa, I'm finding them with my mother. So I'm not thinking ever about it in a super hard way. I'm just starting. You know, like I tell people all the time because they want to know my process. Like when I'm in front of students and things, they always want to know like where I'm starting from. And I'm like, well, I'm never in front of the loop. Like today I'm gonna write a song about loving you. You know, like I hear something in my mind and I'm like, okay, that could be a good place to start. And if I can be in front of my loop pedal doing it, I get in front of it, I plug it in, I get it to the amp and I sit down, I start there and I just let that find itself, and I let myself be guided by that energy. But to do it live is really beautiful because I believe that everyone can see that. I feel that everyone can see their own loved ones and ancestors when I start that, and I feel that they all know and desire a kind of healing that can only come with that kind of like softness and vulnerability. So yeah, I'm never starting from anywhere in particular except for inspiration. You know, I just let myself be inspired. I'm never working overtime to do anything when it comes to my music. And I think that's also what makes it feel authentic and not like a parlor trick or something, is that I'm letting it, like you said, be a way that I translate to you a thing that is above me and behind me and beside me and in front of me, that doesn't have words,
Yeah, I'm trying to get this this glare out of your glasses.
Oh, sorry, let me put them back up. That's what happened. I had them up.
But this shot, though, was a good shot with the glasses, so we'll probably use that shot and switch back over to this joint.
Okay. Also, I don't know if I've answered the question. I feel like I rambled a bit.
No, you answered the question.
Okay.
And where you ramble, it's always poetic and beautiful. So it's kind of like, no, we good with the extra.
Okay.
Plus, I think that people who know you are going to enjoy watching. But people who don't know you or have heard of you or whatever, I think they're going to get a chance to actually meet you a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
And we're going to get to more of that later. But I see you as a multi-disciplinarian when it comes to artistry.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? You are deeply rooted in Buffalo's creative ecosystem. And I'm sure more as well. But, releasing this new music and continuing this artwork across multiple art forms right here in this city. I want you to start broad, and then we're going to work our way to your personal experience.
Okay.
When you hear about situations like Drake's situation, what does that tell you about how music and art really function?
I think it just solidifies the feeling that we all know that music is of you, and your music will be the result of whatever you're going through, and it will exemplify and display whatever you're going through. I think what's always cool about mainstream music is that whether the person who made it or not wants it, we know exactly what's up. Like I think about Drake's last album. I don't know the name of it. But I think about that last album and how, while I was listening, felt wild guilt about enjoying it. And then he got into that beef with Kendrick. And then I immediately knew that's why I felt guilt. Because of how I feel about Kendrick. It's like when your brothers fight, but you have a favorite brother, and you're like, ooh, well.
Well, when your brothers fight in one box and the other one fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a difference.
Like one spars and the other one is a ring fighter.
Right, like he actually get in the ring and the other one get into fights for real. Like he get into fights. He be traveling and stuff and helping his friends. He not a punk. None of that. But when he went up against this guy who he knows, who he was like, yo man, you should come over here with me to the gym where he stopped going to or whatever. Right. You see what I'm saying? This dude became a top boxer. His hands are nice.
Yeah, and I think that's also what was always intriguing to me about the beef, is that you can tell that Drake is trying to be in the ring with somebody he thought he knew, or the person that he had influenced us all to know, which isn't ever who Kendrick has been.
Right.
So Kendrick ended up not just being in the ring with Drake, but also being in the ring with the assumed Kendrick, which is specific. So he had to whoop his ass first, then he had to whoop Drake's ass on the basis of you had everybody thinking I was something else. And because I chose my piece and like flew out to Africa and started my family and got serious about that, they all let you be the person who told them that that's who I was, because I had dropped ownership. And then I heard that that's what you were on. Someone who I thought, well, at least he'll never touch that. He don't got the balls. You do have the balls because of mainstream media making you champagne poppy. You think you're this guy. You think you're some nigga, that you're not. Because in real time, I've got real life skill. I've got real life authenticity. I've got real life, like, love for this. I'm not doing music because it's a parlor trick.
Right.
I'm doing music because it is who I am.
Right.
You know, and I think ultimately,
like a rapper.
Yeah, and I think ultimately that is what made Kendrick and Drake so crazy. Is that while Drake is a nasty lyricist, yeah. his work is theatrical. Absolutely. His work is performative.
Since the beginning.
You know, always has been, right? So it's always gonna feel and look different when the real McCoy shows up.
And that,
always.
And that the fact that
it's like if fucking Dougie Fresh battled DJ Skrillex. It's like, well, that's gonna hit different because Dougie Fresh is beatbox. He is hip hop.
Right. And
you're ultimately pulling from my crates to do what you do.
Right.
You know, and that's what Kendrick was saying. You're ultimately pulling from my crates to do what you do.
Yeah, but if you're okay, so as an actor who raps, when he came out, you know, I had an opinion,
sure.
Especially coming behind Kanye from Chicago, and I'm connected to that.
Right.
And I was just like, I heard his music before he was signed to Cash Money.
Oh yeah, when he was Aubrey.
When he was just Aubrey.
When he was just a black Jewish boy singing about his feelings.
Which was fine.
Is anything I'm doing brand new?
You see what I'm saying?
You know, like that's the Drake I like.
But
like Mos Def said, you know, I shop for my groceries to Drake's music. I'm not, you know, he's not a battler. I'm not listening to his music because I want immaculate lyricism story, you know.
But he gave that.
Yeah, but in a different way.
Right.
I think shit gets stupid when you want to do...
It felt Canadian. It felt like the black experience of the non-American black experience, you know. And as we talk...
It gave Canadian.
It did. His November's very own joints and all the joints back in the day. I like that stuff because he was... You know what I mean? But it was him. It was him.
Yeah.
But once he came out with Baby You My Everything, that joint with Cash Money, now mind you, we all love the song.
Well, yeah.
We love the song. I'm not doubting the song. I'm never doubting none of the songs. What I'm saying is,
oh my God,
bro, who's having sex with you? You was just in a wheelchair, got shot Jimmy dude over some bitch. Why are you on this track with killers and crime drug people and drug addicts?
Signed with Lil Wayne. Who says shit like 2 in the head? Now you know he dead. But you know that's really specific.
Well, that's
like,
a fact.
You know what I mean? Like that's very specific.
But he got that from Chris Tucker saying, "Now you know he dead."
Right.
At the end of Rush Hour.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between.
But that's culture.
It sounds Canadian.
Yeah. That's culture.
African
and
American.
That's heritage.
Right.
You know,
Harambe. Drake wasn't dropping no. Now you know he dead type lines ever because he didn't watch Harlem Nights. He didn't. No. Maybe he saw it, but he wasn't integrated into the culture of it.
Yeah, he's not a nigga.
He's not a Negro.
He's a Negro. He's not a nigga.
I agree with that. He's a Berry.
There is a difference.
I think he's a Berry. I think him and Obama were very close in their Negro-ness because of their upbringing. And they didn't reach the 2020 area where people were kind of like, oh, you're brown. I'm going to introduce you to the culture.
Sure. Because
I see you haven't been introduced. Yeah. Back then, it was like, you ain't down, you ain't down.
Right.
And that was it. So looking at the artistry behind it is tough because we found out that Drake was not willing to be honest about these songs that he didn't write.
Yeah.
It would have been dope if he'd have been like, oh yeah, me and my mans, we cooked it up in the studio. Right. He had some dope ideas, and I was like, yo, he was like, yo, your voice sound good. He could have lied and said we came up with it, and it wasn't just a part of the system.
Yeah, or like, let it be collaboratory because that's just as powerful. Like, that's okay. I think I'm no rapper, but there's always, it seems, this energy around like, but nobody is allowed to have helped me with this. When it's like, well, you wouldn't have had this beat if it wasn't for help. You wouldn't be in the room creating if it wasn't the energy of collaboration. Like, to be making hip hop is to be collaboratory. And to pull that away from it is what makes it stupid. And I think that's also what made Kendrick whooping his ass an ass whooping, because Kendrick was like, oh, me and my whole community are gonna come whoop your ass. Together, me and my community are going to set the record straight.
Dun, 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 dun.
You know, like
Dun, 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 dun. I have another opinion, but I don't want to go too far off.
Yeah.
Let this sentence marinate as we move forward. But
okay.
I think sometimes the black culture can over black stuff, and it loses its cultural impact because we NAACP'd it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
well, because we always getting shit stole up off of us, so we'd be like, "It's mine, motherfucker."
Right, but
which is hard because
having Sam
that
Jackson
takes away,
with the whole we making sure everybody know this is extra black this year, and I'm like, yeah, we got Black Panther. I'm telling you, we got Black Panther, we got Idris Elba, we got black. Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Don't do that because, like we saw in the past, those who do care about stuff like that will become very vocal.
Sure.
Because it's like, yo, we let your family come to the cookout.
Right.
Y'all brought some food that's a little too spicy and salty and flavorful for us. Right. But we cool with that.
Right.
But now y'all want to play flag football and never let us get a touchdown.
Right.
Intercept everything.
Right.
Talk shit to us.
Right.
Hey, man.
Right.
We just sit and talk at our cookouts. We didn't want to get crushed in football. You know what I mean?
We play spades. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's that type of thing where it's like, yo, you don't have to over black the situation. And that's not culture. That's a whole different.
And I think that's got something to do with self-identity. And because there's always a camera on all these boys, it means you're talking for us, you know?
Yeah. And so in a place like Buffalo, right? Where artists don't really have that level of visibility and the risks still feel just as real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How does this conversation kind of feel different when you bring it down to Buffalo, where it's like the artistry and the people trying to make money, and you know what I mean?
Well, as someone who works in the not-for-profit sector, I'll tell you right now, ain't no money for the arts. That's problem number one. Problem number two, that's really what we're gonna come back to every time we have this conversation. Ain't no fucking money. The second problem is I find in my experience that in order to collaborate with artists in Buffalo, not all of them, but a lot of them, in order to collaborate or work with artists in Buffalo, you gotta stop doing your shit in order to be in a room. And for me, as someone who ultimately came to looping big time because I love a cappella music and that's how I hear music. My autism translates anything I hear into a cappella music in my mind. Outside of that, the second thing that brought me to looping was I could stop having to deal with musicians who weren't paying me, who paid me less and less, and who did not believe in rehearsing. You know, so there's this very real energy in Buffalo as a musician where I gotta pay you to rehearse. I gotta pay you then also still to come to the gig if I didn't pay you to rehearse. I gotta hope that when I pay you, you have done what you were supposed to do and learn the music, which is rare. But then you're like, okay, well, I don't want to, it's like all of those things are real. Everybody's talking to you like you're bugging. So you start talking to yourself like you're bugging. You're like, oh my God, well, am I someone who doesn't know how to collaborate? Am I someone who their ego is too big? Am I a diva? When really it's like, no, I come from collective work and responsibility. I come from, if you want it right, you rehearse and you practice. And if you believe in the work, then you're going to give yourself over to the work. I'm not in here doing parlor tricks. I'm in here honoring my people and myself, and I'm being honest with me and my people and myself all at the same time. That means there's a kind of, I got to keep it clean. I got to rehearse it. I got to, I got to ready it. It's not a thing I'm just going to throw out. Unless you're in a situation where you've been working with folks for a long time and y'all know each other and the energy is good. Y'all got chemistry. There's a knowing, you know what I mean? First of all, there's a knowing that you're going to get fucking paid. There's a knowing that you're going to be honored. Everybody in the room is going to treat each other like they know who they are, you know? In Buffalo, it ain't but this big, right? The music circle is that big. You know, everybody in this mug know everybody. And I'll tell anybody who's doing this stuff, unfortunately, you will be in the room with snakes. That is real. And they don't mean to be a snake. Everybody's just trying to get theirs. And I think that's the problem. Everybody's trying to get theirs and forgetting the thing that is, in order for you to get yours, I gotta get mine.
Collective.
But together, not in a competition.
Collective
like that's
unity,
what makes music
not competitive.
Yeah, that's
collective.
What makes music beautiful is that we're doing it together.
Right.
You know, like, because here's the thing: if I wanted to get ego about it, if I wanted to get competitive, I'm fucking up a lot of y'all. I'm putting a lot of y'all to bed. If I get in my cocky bag, if I let my dick sit on the table, I'm hurting a lot of motherfuckers' feelings. I don't want to feel that way. I've been doing my music and learning and cultivating and owning the craft on purpose in a humble and loving space. Because I believe in doing the work together if we're going to do it. I believe in sharing it. I believe in the thing that I'm making is healing and it's soothing and it's good. You know, it's not a competition. As soon as it becomes a competition, everybody gets their feelings hurt. That's just facts. And it's unfair.
I remember.
And that's unfair.
Man, rest in peace to your beloved mother. I'm seeing her face right now because I was at a competition where I was the host. And I asked if I could do a special poem
Sure.
during the intermission.
Sure.
She was one of the judges for the contest.
Okay.
So this whole contest happened. And at the end of it, after I performed and everything, at the very end, she was like, "Can we vote for him?" And they were like, "No, he wasn't in the contest. He just did a performance in the middle." And she was like, "Yeah, but that was the best talent I saw on stage." So I won a competition without being in the competition. And that's why I didn't join the competition, because I knew the people that were throwing it. I knew the judges. Why would I join that competition? So then afterwards I was told this competition was created because of you. You should have joined it so we can gift you these gifts. And I was like, well, why didn't you just gift me the gifts? Why didn't you just throw a show with me as the headliner, gift me the gifts? Like business, like art.
Yeah.
Because and I was told this, because I might go to the gift and not return.
Oh.
So that was like, well, yeah, that's why I didn't join the competition, because then I wouldn't have had a reason to return.
Yeah.
Just like the person who won the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And that be the problem too, is that the math don't be mathing at its inception. So that then we get down to the final result. The math ain't never gonna math because it wasn't clear from the top. And that's what I'm saying. Is like,
right.
There's a competitive nature, which I love, you know, as a kid who went to high school, you know, and was in volleyball and all of that. Like I live for a good competition. I believe that shit gets sharp when you have to compete. I believe that. I love that. But that's not why I'm doing this. And I think in a space as small as Buffalo, all of us trying to get these little doodoo ass $100 gigs is crazy. For example, I know a young man who really believes in his art and his work and really is trying to hone his skill. And I believe in his skill. I believe that this young man could be the next Leon Thomas if he was given the opportunity and took it. And knowing him, he would. You know what I mean? He'd take it and run. That's who he is. He was on a gig with some brothers I know. I've been gigging with him. I've not gotten paid in a gig fucking with them. And I warned this young man. I was like, hey, yo, they might stiff you. And he was like, well, you know, Pop, I ain't doing it for for the such and such, I'm doing it for the love. And I was like, and be careful doing it for the love with niggas who are in the room for the check, you know? And while I love all of these people who make music, I go to these gigs, I listen, I love them, they doing their fucking thing. Unfortunately, I won't be sharing no space with them probably because I'm doing it for the love and it's dope that I got paid. And you're doing it to get paid. That's always gonna make us different.
Right.
You know, and that's okay. That's okay. You know, the more I got to do work in Buffalo, the more I realize it's an energy for a reason. It's a thing the way it is for a reason. And the reason I believe is lesson. You know what I mean? What am I supposed to be learning from all of these lessons? You know?
Right.
And ultimately, I find that the lesson is keep doing it for the sake of healing and for the sake of soothing the listener and for the sake of making space in a world where there isn't a lot of space for us all together to grieve or heal. You know, that's why I'm doing it. It's dope that I get paid. I got a day job so that I don't have to be stressed about this making me money on purpose, you know, because it's dope. I get paid so that they know that the standard is I'm going to do this incredibly and I deserve some kind of payment. You know what I mean? Like the work does deserve the time, the rehearsal does deserve some kind of drop in. But that's, you know, I still would have did it for nothing. You know, in my world, I'm still doing it for nothing. You know?
Right, because the discounts you have to give in order to present this to the people you love is so backbreaking. You know, I remember I did a complete show with a group of folks who have jobs and they have more tenacity than talent.
Sure.
And at the end of it, the cast made $11 a piece.
Yeah.
And we were taken to a restaurant where it cost $12 to eat.
Right.
So at the end of the day,
right,
after we had our celebratory dinner,
right,
we were told at the end, you all made $11 and you all owe me $1
right,
for the dinner. And I was like, never again.
Right.
Then I got with some bros from the hood.
Right.
And they was like, yo, we selling tickets. You sell 10 tickets. You do. And I was like, I suggested that to someone who I felt like that's the climate he was working with.
Yeah.
I didn't suggest that to somebody
right
who
right
is a professional and this and that.
Yeah.
So running into these situations where you're like, wow, I've had experiences outside of Buffalo, or I've learned about professional experiences and I've learned about discipline in a city where the industry isn't centralized at all. You know what I'm saying? Everything is the Wild West out here. It's like, how do you find the time or the discipline to juggle the multiple disciplines
of that
you work with?
Yeah. One of my mentors, Rodney Appleby, taught me that to do music in a place like Buffalo, really to do music anywhere, but to do music in a place like Buffalo, you got to make sure that you know your business. You know what I mean? And your business can be catered to and should be individual to who you are and what your work is. You know, like how Uncle Rodney handled business maybe isn't the way that anyone else handled business, but it got to be tailored to him because he was his business. You know what I mean? There was a way that he was able to move around Buffalo and still can, you know what I mean? Because of who he is and the relationships that he cultivates. People respect him and his artistry, and there's a way that folks will show up for him and make space for him, which was a really awesome thing to watch when I was younger and gigging with him, was watching him, you know, navigate these spaces and name his price and all of those things, like by the hour and da-da-da-da-da-da. And that was important because now I'm out here as an artist. I am my own management, and I prefer it that way because it keeps me immediately, you know, back to ownership. It keeps me a part of my work, and it keeps me at the front of the standard of my work and how I'm received and how I'm paid and all of those things. And I think that is important. I think if you're a musician or an artist, before you get management, you should really, I would recommend really getting into the habit of knowing what it means to sell your work from yourself, like you as the person who sells it. Because then when you get into management, you know what you want. You know how it should feel. You know how you want people to talk to people for you, all of that kind of thing. I
mean, but it sounded like you had a support system. And because I have inside knowledge and did some digging, I know you've had artistic support from birth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I grew up as a person who did not have artistic support until I ran into your supports, honestly. Which I'm very grateful for. But it's like now that you are at the level you are now, where you get to kind of not be under anybody's umbrella.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where do you see the gaps in the system now for maybe an artist like when you first met me? Who, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have the support, and then I found it.
Yeah.
But where do you think those gaps, you know what I'm saying, are?
Yeah. I think immediately it's that we tend to be real gatekeepy in Buffalo. And if we didn't think you were good, tends to be the energy that we know that ain't nobody else gonna think you good, so we stop your shit. You know, we don't gig with you. We make sure that other people don't know to gig with you. You know, that kind of thing. When it's like, meanwhile, back at the ranch, you know, a lot of these gate holders, if I said any of what I have experienced, y'all wouldn't be working no more. So it's like, well, I'll let you eat. And a lot of y'all are the fucking worst. I'm letting you eat and feed your kids and all of that shit. You know, so if I'm not getting in your way, why are you getting in mine? You know, and I think that that's got a lot to do with, I think a lot about what my mother would say about anger or that kind of energy being a fear response. And what you first should ask yourself is, why am I afraid? You know, when you're a gate holder, you're afraid of something. What are you afraid of? You know, are you afraid that when they get past this gate, they succeed you? Are you afraid that when they get past this gate, it's nothing but love? Which is scary, you know, especially when you're coming from a place of competition. They fuck around and love you. There's nowhere for you to put competition. When it's about love, there's nowhere to put competition. And because Buffalo's this big, you know, we're all competing. When really we all should just be doing whatever the fuck we're doing and letting the rest of us do whatever the fuck we're doing.
I mean, I think you said it best. You said some of the gatekeepers make sure people don't know to gig with you.
Yeah.
And
there are real things, like people are, you know, like gatekeeping in a lot of ways is important because, you know, you can find yourself in a situation with someone that's violent. You can find yourself in a situation that you experience unsafety. So that's why you're passing the word down. Like, be aware that this is unsafe. This can be, I've experienced unsafety. That's real. But
that's
like
the gatekeeper we want, though.
Yeah. But in the ideal gatekeep,
right,
we're working under the basis of do no harm.
I think it's the Monique gatekeeping we're worried about, where it's like, well, he's difficult to work with.
Sure.
Those types of situations. Sure. You know, you stepped on my toe. I perceive you didn't it on purpose or didn't say sorry, and now you're difficult to work with. You know what I mean? And sometimes stepping on toes is you slept on my person. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like real issues.
Sure.
But
to be fair, I'm difficult to work with. Like, motherfuckers ain't calling me for gigs no more to be their vocalist because I'm difficult to work with, and that's okay. And I'm difficult to work with because I come from what and who I come from.
See, I understand you're being called difficult to work with, but and it is difficult. It is difficult.
It is.
But it's because you don't want it to be mediocre.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be good enough. And I've heard people, oh man, this is veering off the topic. I'm gonna get back.
Yeah.
But this part, I went to a concert here with people I know on stage. They charged money comparable to other people I know.
Okay.
Who put on complete performances that are prepared and ready.
Yeah.
This performance was a dress rehearsal that was put on as a live show.
Yeah.
And I was making comments because I'd be talking junk at my table. And I heard the people near me say, I love shows in this city because it's not perfect. People be making mistakes. You could tell. And I was looking like, well, then go to the dress rehearsal. I remember in theater, there's a free night where you can go watch people mess up.
And I think also that's real too, right? Like me and you are speaking from ultimately the place of theater.
Yeah.
Which is a discipline that isn't a discipline that everyone knows. You know? And I think that also is like why I'm difficult to work with. Because I'm coming from theater. I'm coming from, well, there's a very real way that we create. You know?
Just the way you said that, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
a very real way. And people be like,
you know, and that's okay. That's okay. More for me. More room for me to do the thing that I actually really want to do, you know, which is this right here.
We've been speaking a lot, and I don't want to come off negative. I think some of my words are more about the frustration of the things you're bringing up because I experience it too.
Sure, yeah.
And Buffalo has a very specific cultural texture. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
What has the city given you creatively?
Well, I think the city creatively has given me a space to grieve. I have lost a lot of people in my time in Buffalo. A few of them people that everyone knows, like my mom. Not everyone, a lot of people in Buffalo knew her in such a way that I am never grieving her alone. And while for a second, like maybe the first year of grieving her, I wanted to be a thing that just belonged to me because she was my mother. And on a trauma way, I had already, without my consent, given away a lot of my mother.
I understand what you mean.
You know what I mean? I was like, well, the least that her and grief can do is let me have it. It is mine. I grieve her. Y'all don't even know this lady. Is really how I felt. And in the grand scheme, you won't, right? Like even Milky, my brother, a Milcar doesn't know my mother the way I know her. Right. I will never know the mother he knew. You know what I mean? Right. Like he was born in 77, I was born in 91. Two totally different sisters. You know what I mean? So like, and I, after that first year, realized that and made space for that and was grateful for that space and that time, you know? So I think I think Buffalo, the community has given me that, like a real space for me to work out grief. I think Buffalo has also given me beauty, you know. I haven't been around the world or nothing, but I've been to enough places to know that there is no fall like Buffalo's fall. There is no summer like Buffalo's summer. And that is beautiful and inspiring, whether I immediately know it or not. And while it is hard, the winter, it is my favorite because there's a quiet and there is a space for being in myself that I know if there wasn't a season that made you stop for 8 months out of the year, I wouldn't get. You know what I mean? Like living in New York, it's still wintertime for 8 seasons, but that city is going no matter what the fucking weather is, you know? And that changes your ability to be inward and reevaluate and all those kind of things. And as someone who was raised an only child, because my brother is like 17 years older than me or some shit.
He was grown.
You know what I mean? He was out doing his thing because I was raised as an only child. There's a way that I value my solitude and my ability to reevaluate and calibrate myself, a thing that my mother wasn't always around to do because she was doing her fucking thing. You know what I mean? So like, I take all of that. That is why I'm able to make my music the way I'm able to make it and come to it the way I'm able to come to it, because I really make myself quiet inside. So I would say that Buffalo immediately gave me and keeps giving me the ability to be within myself.
That's a good I like that answer, and I will probably cut this part because I just like that answer.
Okay.
Now, a lot of what we talk about on this platform is stuff nobody really teaches you, like the adult lessons. And knowing you went to a theater school and was in theater and all of that good stuff, what lessons did you have to learn outside of the school or the theater that you feel like people might not get in that realm?
Oh, sure. Well, immediately for me, I went to college for theater. I didn't have to do that. So immediately what I learned there was you do, in fact, because, let me backtrack. What I learned from that situation was what you have been learning your whole life is real, and they are skills, and you didn't need a white man in a school to tell you that you know that shit already.
But
you did not need
very
that.
Nice. He's a very
no, he's
nice
not.
man.
Anyway.
But he's so funny.
No, he's not. Anyway, I did not need that. So I think what that experience taught me was trusting myself and believing that what I already do, in fact, have are skills. Now, while it was corny and I didn't need it, I was able to put some of the skills that I had learned in theater from Ujima to practice, like my ability and my natural sense of collaboration and my ability for finding vulnerability and challenging myself past the thing that I had been asked to be challenged in, which I love. I like theater because it asks you to do a thing and you have the choice to meet it there or exceed it. And I like exceeding because I like making it stick, and for me that means going harder than I needed to go.
See, but that speaks to the reason I said I like that answer. Because it's like, yes, your experience with the man in the yellow hat was the way it was because it was designed that way anyway.
Sure.
My experience with the man in the yellow hat was like Curious George because I didn't have the support system coming up. I did not have the confidence that these things are sound. I just knew I learned a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So when I was in that same environment with the other Curious Georges, I had to defend the things that I thought everybody dealt with. I didn't know that was like a specific to this space thing.
Gotcha.
Like you said, Buffalo is a very internalized, deal with the grief, deal with trauma. It's Fallout 4 zombies in this joint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's ghouls. It's just how it is. Like some of the ghouls talk, some of them are feral, some of them just sit there and chill, some of them will chase you down.
Right.
But when you were just explaining walking into a space like a college where the general consensus is deal with your stuff, and you're saying I was never taught to come in here with my stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
How are we dealing with stuff instead of doing the work? Doing the work is how you deal with stuff.
Sure.
And that process used rubrics and science to say it should go the other way. Because dollars and cents. Where, like you said, you came from love. So you can do it what you were taught is the straight way.
Yeah.
They were taught their way is the straight way.
Sure.
And that's what I meant by.
Yeah. And I'm also coming from a place where, like, it's all going to hit different anyway because we Black. Yeah. And also it's going to hit different because it's my mom. Like, whenever I was on stage and my mother was the director, which was almost always, my mom is saying shit like, do it again. And you do it again and she's like, no.
Straight up. Straight like that.
No.
Like, I paid my money for this.
Do it again, and you do it again, and now you're crying, and she's saying things like, yes, keep going, She doesn't stop the room because you're crying, And that was a thing I learned wasn't everyone's experience, not even regular or normal, just wasn't everybody's experience when I got to college. Because I'm in this space, I'm crying. I'm giving myself over to it. I'm crying. And, you know, the man in the yellow hat is like, all right now. And you see that they're crying. And I'm like, why you? I'm in it, motherfucker. Why'd you stop the room to show them I'm crying? They see me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am doing the work. Why you hold up? What the fuck?
Because artists want to be a part of dope shit all the time. That's just a fact.
But the nuts part is that we are. I'm here doing it and you're watching it. We're a part of it. We're doing it together.
He wanted to still be the man in the yellow hat.
Yeah. He's turning you into a display in the natural history of science.
Curious George.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was definitely Curious George. That was me. I was with it because I didn't understand the situation. But in that one moment, you know what I mean? That doesn't define a whole thing, but those are the moments that cause people to back out and be like, yo, I can't do this. I was just saying this to my friend earlier. I was like, if somebody invites me to come to do something for them, and, you know, people like to test you. So, you know, they'll be like, you know, they just want to play around. I walk in there like, man, you look ugly as hell. And I'm like, yo, depending on who say that, I might turn around and walk away.
Right.
And never come back. And you were joking. You
You
really want to see me excel. You think the show can be dope. But I don't see that person as a person who should be able to do.
Sure.
Where I would accept it from somebody else. So I had to check that part. Because it's like, if I was to get to a level of collaboration, I'm going to be working with people who got to use the bathroom, so they're not focused. Somebody is itchy, so they can't focus. I was yelled at by a person. I was wrong, I guess, but they were yelling at me like I caused their personal life problems.
Sure. Yeah.
To the point where at the end of it, everybody came to me and was like, "Are you okay?
Right.
Are you all right?" And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Is he okay?
Right.
He was yelling at me like he got a problem for real.
Yeah.
And they told me his problems at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, he not okay.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you gotta yell, you know what I mean?
And ultimately, I think also too, that's what I learned in college is that like, well, first of all, I'm in Buffalo where, once again, it's small as shit. So like everybody knows who my mom is. I remember the first time I was in class with the man in yellow hat. It's like, they hear why we're doing theater. And they come to, you know, it's my turn. And before I could say who I am, he says, oh, and that's Curtis Lovell. That's Lorna Hill's daughter of Ujima Theater Company. Incredibly impressive. And then ran down all of my mother's accolades. And I said, I'm very regular, y'all. I'm just here to do class like the rest of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being here doing class.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lord has walked in the room.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, first of all, she didn't. I walked in.
The Son of God walked in the room.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
God, the way maker.
You know.
Oh, I think your chain might be on the microphone.
Ooh, and I think that was what, for me, colored my experience, is that like, I'm in spaces where people know who and what I come from. And that is going to fuck with my ability to be in the room for real, because y'all are anticipating a thing. So like, I can't even fuck up. I can't even be a student like everyone else because I'm Lorna Hill's kid. I'm a Milcar Hill's sister. You know what I mean? Like, and that was annoying for a long time. And this is a hard thing to say because not everybody feels this way about shit like this, but you weren't there. I was. While I know my mother better now in her absence than I knew her in her presence. And I think she knows me better in her absence as well. Wow. You know, and that is just the truth. You know, and there is a way that I can show up and honor her now that I couldn't when she was here, and vice versa. You know, she can be the protector that she wanted to be and aimed to be when she was here now in her absence, and vice versa. You know. But all of that was really hard because there was a lot of expectation for me to be a specific thing that I wasn't even sure I wanted to be. But I knew very much in a performative place that I had to do it. You know, I went to school ultimately for theater because I come from theater, not because I wanted to go to school for theater.
Right.
I went to performing arts for music because everyone thought I was a beautiful singer, not because I wanted to. You know, like that. There was a kind of performative for a lot of my life that I was doing that I didn't know I was doing for real until she passed away.
Wow. And with that being said, you struck on something that also this platform is about. What would you want younger creatives, maybe like yourself, if you will? You are very unique. I haven't met a lot of people with your story, except for like pastors' kids.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Because everybody know the pastor's kids.
The legendary Karima Amin's daughter,
right.
I had time to get to know her.
Yeah.
And some of the things you just said actually translate very well.
Yeah.
Actually, my dad is super popular.
Yes.
And...
found yourself in a similar feeling.
Oh my God. But I was popular before him.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, he surpassed me. It's like, I was like, I'm not a gatekeeper like that. I was like... Go get it, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm cycling back to I should have been participating. Similar to some of the things. You know what I mean? So anyway, what would you want a younger creative in Buffalo to understand earlier? You know, like what does a sustainable creative life actually look like from that place to where you are now?
I think it is that as much as we are taught that they do know better, when it comes to your happiness and your joy and your fulfillment, they just don't. Your parents do not know better than you when it comes to that. You know, I think a lot about Sweet Honey and the Rock song On Children. And the first stanza of it is, your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You know, like, if I ever get the opportunity to raise children, in a like I'm their parent kind of way. I've had the opportunity of raising children, but they're not mine as an aunt or whatever. I desire to be that kind of person in their life that makes way for them, but does not show them the way. That is what it is, you know? And I think that is important to know as a young artist, is that you make the way. The path is open and then you walk it. That is totally up to you, you know? And I think it is necessary sometimes to be within yourself and be alone and be in your solitude, just like there are important times to be out in the world and going to all the things and doing the things and like dancing all night and getting drunk with your friends and fucking doing donuts in the parking lot. Like all of that is just as both things are real. We are multitudes, and whatever you need, take that, do that, you know, invest, give yourself over to it. That is important. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Very good, very good. Now, I looked up a couple of loop folk.
Yeah.
And the top two that I remember is Bobby McFerrin, who doesn't use the actual looper. Mm-hmm. He is the looper himself. Yeah. And then, of course, Reggie Watts. So when I thought about the company you keep, I was like, okay, Bobby McFerrin, Reggie Watts, Curtis Lovell. Those some names I can respect, you know what I'm saying? So when you're making music in this way, live and exposed, it starts to feel less like a product and more like a record of a moment. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Like a journal entry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know we were talking about some of these things. So when you brought the album to fruition, what part of your life were you documenting when you started this project?
Yeah, I was documenting right after my mother died. I was starting the documentation of right after my mother died, because I'm not done, but starting that. And I felt, while in my grief, because I won't ever have my mama no more on this plane, and that sucks because, wow, that bitch was a good time. She was a good time.
She's fantastic still.
Still.
Man.
Still.
Hilarious.
And in so many ways, my best friend and my most truest confidant. But also I felt emancipated. I felt like as soon as she passed away, chains broke and they dropped to the ground and I could hit the ground running. I felt free. Because there was a way that I had to show up in that relationship that never was me. I stopped going by Zoe the day she passed away.
Oh, wow.
I actively started moving towards who I always thought I was, which was terrifying because I knew that no one else felt free about my mother's passing. I know that a lot of people around me felt further chained.
Like a chain was added where a chain was released for you.
Yeah, because she was so big. And to be loved by her was to be loved and seen. And she had an incredible way of like putting you in your own ecosystem and meeting you there, seeing you and meeting you there. And then while being in your space, see what the standard ought to be and making you meet that standard. She didn't just create expectation for the sake of it. She saw you where you were at and was like, oh, well, I see you could take it another notch this way.
Come on.
You know?
Almost said another octave higher.
Which is like an incredible thing. And a thing she gave to everyone but me.
I am trying to be a good host.
And it's a thing that she gave everyone else but me.
I had conversations that suggest your perception is specific to your experience.
Yes, and I think that, just on the quick note of me and my mother, I think that she really wanted to, and those are the conversations she was having with folks. She really saw, she saw like from the glass what it was, and wanted to be in the room, but every time she got in the room, I had to ask her to leave. And that's just the nuance and the delicacy of mother-daughter. It just always is and will be,
Well, I'm looking at the title of the album, right? And it's called The Conjuring. Well, Conjuring.
Yeah.
And even the album art, you know what I mean? It just stood out to me. It struck me. I follow you on my music. So when new releases popped up, I was like, scroll. I was like, scroll. And, it is what it is. So, as I'm listening to the album, I'm getting some great music. It feels like a journey. You know what I mean? And when you were putting it together, what emotional direction were you trying to move the listener through?
Sure.
Versus your...
Yeah. I was trying to move them through that. Like, I make music from my experience. I'm not trying to hide you from that. I think what makes my music feel good to people is that it's me. I'm not doing an act. I'm not performing in any kind of way, except for to be playing this music in front of you. That is as deep as a performance gets. I am me. I don't do a lot of talking when I perform. That's because that's who I am. While I have a great gift for gab and do enjoy conversation, I am not a talker. So that's some of my only real space where I let myself not be a talker, on purpose. I do the music, I sing it. However I sing it, I say thank you, I move on to the next song. And I only say thank you so that you know that I am done with this song and I'm about to move on to the next one. If I thought I could not say thank you, I'd be
just go to the next joint.
I'd just be going to the next joint.
Right. So let's break down, I'm going to go song by song.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you my impression.
Okay.
And I just want to know if I was accurate or not.
Okay.
And then let me know, maybe, where to go from there. And then, but we got 5 songs, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
We don't need to. I want to save some for another interview.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So with Moonbow.
Yeah.
Moonbow is a very strong opener, vocally inviting, honest, and confident without forcing anything. That's what really pulled me into the album. Why did you feel like this was the right place to begin?
The moon is a big inspiration of mine. When I was a kid, for a while when I was a kid, I didn't keep journals. I would go out to the back balcony of my mother's house and look at the moon and talk immediately to her. That was how I kept journal.
Okay. Now, is it moon bow or moon bow?
Moon bow, like a rainbow, but
Okay.
moon bow.
Moon bow. Oh, like a rainbow. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, so because the moon, depending on the night, creates this really beautiful aura around herself, this kind of glow. And, you know, if you're witchy or magical, that usually means, you know, depending on the immediate ring outside of the moon, it can mean a thing. You know, like a red circle can mean danger's coming. A one that's kind of blue can mean, you know, anything. You know what I mean? Like they all mean a thing. But I was imagining that it was a thing that well, first of all, to me, the moon is a woman just as much as she's a man. It is beautiful. The moon is gorgeous, and it knows it's gorgeous. And I was really working from a place of like, I think a lot about Sting's Sister Moon, and how he is just singing his love of how beautiful the moon is. That was where I was coming from. And also, at the time of writing, it was inspired by, I guess tryst is the right word, that I was involved in. And you know, poetically, it was like, you know, their skin looks like the skin of the color of the moon, you know, like, so like doing a very big romantic,
Tasty ones, man.
Fair skinned human being.
Love me some paste, baby.
But also like within working out that feeling, also found you know, like how do I get to this quickly? Like my mother was fair skinned, you know, and folks say that you find your parents in people that you end up loving, you know, and for me it was connecting, finding that the two talk to each other. Wow. The love that I felt from my mother, that kind of admiration, the thing that feels far away but is for me, like the moon, is how I felt about this tryst I was in. Felt very like mine, but also very far away, and is shining on me. So that's what I was working in.
Beautiful.
And I love jazz, and so I let that be what it feels like. It feels very like jazzy and warm and sumptuous and voluminous and glowing. And there's something very dreamy about it. Yeah.
Man. Well, and that's just the first song. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with it. Like when I'm listening to it, I feel those things from your perspective, the way you're explaining it. And it's like, I can understand how you know, what I can understand what you sent out, even if I got different things for myself, without redefining your work. But on Quench, now Quench was my standout track of the entire piece.
Thank you. Okay.
Because of the vocal delivery, how precise and deliberate it was to the notes you used. You know what I mean? Like like I said, I dug all deep into it. I was digging deep when you were 10, trying to find notes and secrets and stuff. But I took a step back and just was listening to what was happening internally. Yeah. You know, and the line, I make myself cry so I can quench the thirst inside.
Come on.
Really lands.
Come on.
And
I think I did my big one.
What does it take to access that place? Excuse me, but we were talking about Quench and what it takes to get to a place where you can write that type of song. You know what I'm saying?
I make myself cry so that I can quench the thirst inside.
Absolutely. This track feels like you're shaping emotion with sound. You know what I'm saying? How aware are you of texture and space when you're building a song like this?
Incredibly aware. Because the song, the song is in the sound. And I'm a believer in, I'm a fan of people who riff and do all those beautiful runs and like show us the ability of their instrument by these, incredible runs and all these beautiful things. But I only do that kind of stuff unless it feels like the story and the song want it, the sound wants it.
because I'm adding those kind of things as an instrument. I think of my voice as an instrument. When I find sound or tune it a certain kind of ways, because I'm trying to imitate an instrument. So when I listen back to Quench, I hear in my voice that I am a saxophone. So that does a very specific thing on the energy. I'm a saxophone in a song that is inspired by Latin rhythm. You know, to me, the song does what a tango does, what flamenco does. It moves like that. When I play the song, I imagine flamenco dancing to it. It's got rhythm and clap and bass and stomp in it. You know, it is very like, it is the pinnacle of feminine wrath and rage and sorrow. That's what I'm singing about. You know, I make myself cry so I can quench the thirst inside. The thirst inside is this entity that always wants to come up when I think about you, and it is angry, and it is rageful, and it is full of wrath, and it is hot, that what keeps it caged is me and my softness and in my sadness and in my deep yearning for you.
Wow.
You know, so I make myself cry so I can quench the thirst inside. And the thirst ultimately is just that. It's like the first line of the song is, I don't like to talk about you, thorn in my side, you know. I don't like to think about the things that make me sigh at night.
Right.
I've been acting like you ain't happened, tumor in my mind, you know, like, even though I'm not talking about you out loud, doesn't mean I'm not thinking about you. I'm not thinking about what happened with us. And it doesn't mean that that thought and that feeling isn't getting larger and becoming cancerous, you know, and feeding a part of my ego that is ugly and mean. You know, at some point I talk further in the song about like, but if I gave it just a whiff of you, if I text you, if I call you, if I try to see you, I won't even be in the room anymore.
Right, that should come in.
It'll be the thirst. I gotta keep it.
Yeah,
you know,
I got all of that.
I'm not any good for you like you're not any good for me. You know, and I hate that I want you, and I hate that I miss you, and I hate that I grieve you. And moreover, I hate that it wants to see you, you know? So in order to soothe the both of us, I make myself cry so I can quench the thirst inside.
Yeah, that is...
And the harmonies, those ahs, are it crying, you know?
Beautiful song. It reminded me of like this quiet strength, you know what I mean? Not hiding, not trying to escape. It was what you just said. Also, it spoke to that feeling that you expressed of what Buffalo gives. You know, so I was just reflecting on that in a moment. But moving on, because we don't have much time left, I wanted to get to Voodoo Baby. Okay. And it feels vocally brave and rhythm forward. Okay. There's play in it, but also discipline. What kind of freedom were you allowing yourself on this track? You know, like the rhythm seemed to be anchored in confidence of the song. How does the rhythm function for you as structure? You know, or as emotion and structure?
Yeah. I think of, when I think of voodoo, I think of swamp, and I think of magic, and I think of sex, and I think of a higher power, and I think of ancestry. And when I think of baby, I think of a thing that is precious and for you and of you, and that will grow. So I think ultimately I was working as just those words, period, as the inspiration for creating sound. And I love depth and darkness, and you know, all of my work ultimately has a kind of haunting feeling, because that's where I am in my mind's work, is a thing that floats and opens and creeps, like how nostalgia does, or like how a thing that is haunted or is haunting feels. So I worked with that, and when I wrote it, I had asked my women friends, what's the like quick list of the things that you want out of a partner? you know? So it runs like a list because that's what it was, you know? And I just heard all of what they were saying and added some things I wanted and wrote them all down. And a thing that I loved that a woman friend said to me, I think it might have been Dayatra Hassan, she was like, and we make love on Sunday because Sunday is the day of worshiping me. You know, so like both verses end with made love on Sunday and immediately go into love me, like a brother needs his drum, like the mama in the truth, like a sister, you know what I mean? Like, because that's how I want to be loved. You know, I want worship, how these things worship these things. I want to be worshiped these things, like these things, because I crave you. You know, voodoo baby, the thing that is magic and enthralling and takes over me, and I like how you catch the spirit. Love you.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving because I'm about to go listen to the album again as soon as we leave. But let's speak about Zoe for a moment, because Zoe feels reflective and settled, like different parts of your life sharing the same space without conflict. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What were you honoring or acknowledging in this song?
My transness. I start the song in my lowest register because that is my masculine reflecting on its beginning, its birth.
Right, and there's a sense of duality, but not tension though. Yeah.
Because my masculine still holds space for my feminine. You know, they hold space for one another. I was talking to a friend of mine a few months ago about, because, you know, they want to know about my transness and how I'm working out all those things that is always changing, ever growing. And I am currently at a place that feels like I feel more masculine on the outside, and I have the honor and privilege of keeping safe my feminine, you know, and because of that, she gets to be her full self, you know, unapologetically. She gets to cry and be enraged and be joyous and adventurous and curious because she has the masculine keeping her safe, you know, and I think ultimately that is a kind of thing that I was always looking for in my like male-female romantic relationships, was this kind of safety that ultimately could only come from me, and a thing that I found in myself. But in reflecting in me and my mother's relationship and my life, you know, I always think of this kind of like subconscious force that is kind of narrating or watching over your world, ancestry. So that's who the griot is me talking to ancestry and them talking to me, asking me what I think. You know, now that you have come to this side of your life, what do you think? You know.
Would you consider that the moment when you had to face like some level of acceptance, or like when did you like?
Definitely.
Not when, like a story, but how did you arrive at that kind of acceptance?
Yeah, I think listening back to those audio clips that I have underneath the whole thing that Jenna Ratowski, who was my engineer, had really beautifully laid underneath all of it, and it creates its own rhythm, which is really yummy. When I listened back to those individually and then sent them to her to create this thing, I was really taken by how everyone knew this me, you know, but we're talking to Zoe, you know, like they had already known, a thing that I hadn't come to all the way yet. So it's really less about a knowing and a more of a like celebrating and being thankful that those people knew before I knew and were ready for me to know, you know, and so was Zoe, you know, like and like I said before about me and my mother's relationship, Zoe, when my mother talked to me about when she wanted me and when she asked the universe for me, she asked for me as a gift. That's what she said, you know, I want a thing that is for me. It is just for me and nothing else, and I will love it and think of it as a gift. It will be my Mother's Day, my Christmas, my Thanksgiving, my birthday, its birthday. You know what I mean?
That's what we saw,
right?
As well,
right. But that meant that I had to show up like that. I had to be that, you know, because there wasn't room for this other thing yet, you know, and because it was just me and her, that was at the forefront, you know? But instead of throwing her away, saying goodbye to her, I opened myself and let her inside and keep her safe now, you know? So now she can look back on our life and cry. She can look back on our life and celebrate. She can look back on our life and be thankful. And she can, you know, like in wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, that thing got his ass whooped, held down the first few rounds, and it tags you in, you know? And it doesn't run away. It stays by the edge of the ring and cheers you on. Right. You know, and that's what happened. You know, she tagged me in.
Yes. Oh, man, that's beautiful. And, well, it seems very appropriate to end with the song Bone to Bone. You know what I mean? Of course, for me, that's like, you know, you don't have no more cartilage and your bone rubbing and you need to get a little surgery or something.
Yeah, you know? Which is real.
Which is very real.
That is, that's a part of it.
But it definitely carries a calm, grounded power that I enjoy. When you perform it, where does that sense of authority come from?
My immediate answer is it comes from the base of it, that thing that the bass is doing and that stomp. For me, the song is very I imagine when I'm listening to it, you know, that incredibly at the Mecca when they're like running around that big beautiful black brick, you know, and they're singing and they're praising and they're worshiping. That's the kind of momentum it has in my mind. And it feels like church. It feels like worship. It feels like giving myself over to, which is ultimately what I'm speaking to. And Bone to Bone is a thing that I wrote when I got told that I will be starting the endeavor towards becoming artistic director of Ujima. You know, regality could kill me. You know, this thing that is legacy and passed on from this to this to this, it could kill me. It could take me away from who I think I am, who I'm supposed to be, you know. And spirit, mother, I envy, you know, that. I envy that. I want that. I want to know what it means to be at the front, to be at the helm, to be like a kind of powerful and looked to like that. And it does mean a kind of rubbing up against like bone to bone, like cartilage to cartilage. You know, it does mean it might take me out of myself to do it. You know, but I'm ultimately, you know, in those verses, I am kind of like hyping myself up. I'm trying to, you know, connect this energy to my energy, so that bone to bone they can create, you know, like a fucking mech, like the Power Rangers when they all come together to create this monster to kick ass. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm speaking to in my own poetic way.
Right, but the vocal range, right, on this track, it feels more intentional. Yeah. You know what I mean? Than like performative, like for presence. Yeah. You know, and like, how do you decide when power needs to be expressed and when it needs to be held? Or do you just feel it?
I think I'm never thinking about it, so I suppose I'm just vibing. Like, I'm really just following the music, you know, like anything, it's got dynamic and it's got story, and I'm just following it. In a lot of ways, me looping and creating sound is a thing that I am the conduit of. I'm not always fully aware, even when I write it or create it, what I'm trying to say or what it's trying to say. I listen back to a lot of this work and be like, that's what you were saying. You know, sometimes I don't even know. And I just akin that to letting myself be a channel, you know? So yeah.
Well, in our closing remarks, I just wanted to know that after finishing this album, what do you understand about your voice as an instrument and as a tool that you didn't know before? What did you conjure here?
Yeah, I think I named it Conjuring because when I think of conjuring, I think of a movement like this, a kind of gathering and sourcing and holding to do the next step that is creating, You know, you conjure, you bring it all together first, and you let it all kind of marry, and then you create. And I think what I've learned about myself was that I have a lot that I have conjured and created and collected. You know, I underestimate it, and I don't think about. I underestimate because I'm just not thinking about its power and its healing property. And I learned a lot of that in my music and in myself while creating this work. Is that, you know, the big work is in the conjuring and the bringing it together.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. You know I be forgetting. Yo, man, this was a great conversation. I want everybody to, now you are free to go to your favorite music platform and check out Conjuring by Curtis Lovell. Manami. You know what I mean? For sure. And no, seriously, thank you so much for coming. I'm enjoying the music. I know you got some projects coming up that are maybe outside of music. If you feel like talking about any of that, this is time.
Okay.
But any shout outs? I know you say you have a wonderful wife. We were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
Shout out to your wonderful, wonderful wife.
Yes.
Shout out to your team.
Yes.
Some of them I know, some of them, you know, they be teaching that shit to the kids.
Period.
So I just wanted to leave you with the floor. You got a couple minutes to let everybody know what's up next.
Yeah, okay, so the next thing I have coming up next is I don't know when this will drop, but I'm at the Revolver on Elmwood Avenue, January 17th at 7:30 with Danielle and Mike from the Pharaoh Band. And we're all looping. All of us are bringing our loops and we're doing our thing. That's going to be fucking nuts. And after that, I have The Brother's Size, written by Terrell Alvin McCraney at Ujima. I've directed it. It's a 3-man show, and it opens February 27th, and it runs until March 8th. And that's everything I got coming up. Working on some more stuff in the studio. You'll hear that when you hear it. And
where can we reach you online if we want to contact you without going through me first?
Oh, sure. I'm on Instagram as curtis.the.looper. That's my music page. You can reach out to me there. Or my personal page, which is to the public, Curtis the Courteous. Yeah, that's me.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to let you get back to it. We done kept you away from the music too long. Get back in that studio. We love you. Shout out to the team. Peace.
Bye. I think.
Baby, you my everything.
Okay.
You all I ever want.
Okay. It's giving holiday.
How much am I getting paid? How much am I getting paid?
Because that's...
Can you be a little more gay? I've never heard that on stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I've heard people say to homosexual men, "Can you be a little more straight?"
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never heard somebody be like, can you gay it up a little bit?
You ever heard a story about when Mom was doing, I forgot what show at, fucking performing arts,
yes.
That gay boy.
I completely heard that story from his perspective.
Yeah, incredible. Poor child.
He had no idea I loved Lorna so much.
So
I was laughing so hard he didn't understand.
Yeah. She was like, you wanna get work? Take your dick out your ass. I was like, Lord, I'm in college. You can't be talking to these kids like this. She's like, I talk to them however the fuck I'm.
But if you want to get work, take the dick out your ass.
You gotta take the dick out your ass.
Ladies, fellas, in between.
You know.
If you want to get work,
you gotta take the dick out your ass.
You gotta take the dick out your ass. You gotta put the dick on the floor.
You know.
Stop pulling it out when ain't nobody asked for it.
You know.
Bring dip and chips. Do not bring your dick. This is the requirement now.
And never go full retard.
Well, never go full nothing nowadays. Never go full nigga.
Conversation for another time.
Right. Clifton Powell. We love Clifton Powell. But he too many times. He went full nigga too many times.
Jonathan Major. He went to nigga on his white wife.
Well, he went regular nigga. That's the problem with him. He went regular nigga. He couldn't be regular.
I think he's coming back though. I feel bad for him. He's a solid actor.
Him and Megan slapped it up.
Yeah, they did. They are slapping it up right now.
I support that.
Yeah,
I need Jonathan Majors to be drinking her fluids right now. Because that's exciting.
He is.
He is. And his nose is rubbing on the right spots.
Yeah, all
Amen.
that.
He's a very handsome man from America, right?
It's fucking Home Depot in there right now.
Real quick, before we get into Quench, right?
Okay.
Could you please give us a blurb for how you feel about the dark-skinned actors being cast who are not from America?
You know, that's so interesting too, right? Because I'm like, in my brain, they're black.
Right.
Who gives a fuck if they're American? They're black. In a lot of situations, their experiences are experiences because, unfortunately, being black is being black. No matter where you at, you know, you don't get no special pass because you got a fucking accent. You're a nigga. Beast of the Southern Wild, which is like, instead of hiring actors, they looked around Louisiana for people who had that experience and put them in the movie. You know what I mean? It changes, first of all, what you're seeing, you know, and it really makes you feel like you're in it and with these people, because there's nothing about it that feels performance.
Right.
They're reading words off a script, and they are in front of a camera. But ultimately, they are working from a place of, I've lived this. And I think that, I mean, I think that's anything, right? Like, what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to do performance, or are we trying to do the experience?
And I'm not trying to say Idris Elba shouldn't be a star. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Idris Elba shouldn't play, you know, Stokely Carmichael and all, like,
period.
Play black people and all of that.
Yeah.
But when you change The Little Mermaid, which is, you know, I was with it. But when you change it, and then the change don't matter at all.
Well, yeah, everybody white but her. It's like, well, what are we saying?
Well,
what story are we telling?
Why
everybody
not
white but her? Disney, all right.
That's why I'm like, I thought everybody was gonna be black or dark skinned or tan, and then it's like,
tan.
Why didn't you just pick a white lady?
Because
whose eyes were a little closer together.
I blame Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. With that being said, we're going to talk about Quench.
And I love Ryan Coogler. I don't blame him. Like, fuck him. I just
He did too damn good on Sinners. He shouldn't have been so good.
No, he did a specific thing with Black Panther, and that changed everything.
It's like they took Killmonger and Lil Durk and made that the same nigga.
Yeah.
Like Vaughn, maybe King Vaughn, like that.
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, it's like,
what?
Okay. As a comic book head, it's like
has been stripped of his power.
Forrest Whitaker, chill out, pimp. I think as a comic book head, I know that Stan Lee wrote Black Panther inspired by Malcolm X, and I know that he wrote Killmonger or Martin Luther King, and he wrote Killmonger inspired by Malcolm X. So like when you know that and you see at the end that what has happened is Killmonger dies, that changes how you feel about T'Challa.
Right.
Just like when Malcolm X died and Martin Luther King was still with us, it changed how we felt about what Martin is doing.
Right.
You know, just like when they were both alive, it changed how we felt about both of them, right? Like, Martin Luther King was very much giving us peace, love, and joy. You know, let's just be black and beautiful. And Malcolm X was like, by any means necessary, though. That changed how we did civil rights. Just like this story is going to change how we feel about, first of all, black men who are angry and got trauma. Because that's ultimately what Killmonger's story is. I didn't get the family you got, and it's mine. That's crazy. That changes the landscape. But also, like, it changed casting. It changed how we tell story. It changed who gets to be in the room. And unfortunately, a lot of us took the really like beautiful and authentic thing that Ryan Coogler was trying to do, and you know, made it a publicity stunt, which is just like what we're dealing with right now. It's just a lot of shit is, you know, for the stunt of it, like blackness has once again a lot of spaces turned into a parlor trick when really it's our experience, you know.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so it's I want to get back into the album.
Yeah, let's do it.
The conversation is so fire.
I'll come back.
I'm not advocating for more white. I'm suggesting that white people, or the white power structure that we've been speaking about, they have been giving their experiences according to the rest of us watching. Yeah. But to them, it's not their experience. I've heard a lot of people like, no, I'm not this way, and my family don't do stuff like that. That's not who we are.
What's crazy is that white folks don't want white folks rarely realize that history is our culture and heritage. And unfortunately, white folks, y'all have been doing history like this, which means that is your culture and heritage. Just like niggas had to do history like this, and that is our culture and heritage.
Right.
You know, like that just is it. So when we speak about slavery, when we tell stories about slavery, we're speaking about when those two stories, when those two cultures and heritages collided.
Right.
You know, that's
And
what that is.
I think the answer to the question that you just gave me is these current movies don't address the collision.
Yeah.
When they change stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't even see The Little Mermaid to know if her tan skin or darker skin and wider eye set mattered in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, your eyes is wider than the rest of us. You shouldn't be down here with us. Maybe maybe it was because she was underwater, her eyes was like that.
Right. But like, as opposed to like Black Panther 2, when Shuri has to take the helm because T'Challa has passed away, she runs into them Polynesian brothers and sisters under the water. That's a very specific thing.
Yeah.
That storyline is very specific. It's immediately connected to culture and heritage that brother ended up down there with his people.
But it's not connected to the comic books. They could have named those people something
that's something
else.
else. Well, that's something else.
But you see what I'm saying?
Else.
That's why I'm like, if you keep on...
And that's the real though, right? Like, you change one thing, you immediately are not doing the other thing.
Right. I was watching a video and the guy was talking about the Watcher in the What If, where he was black. And it was like, why did you change his skin tone? Because it made him look dookie. Not like dookie, that's...
I know what you mean.
I know what you mean. It made him look bad as a character. And at first I was like, he's racist. But then I was like, wait a minute. He's saying, as a visual looker, as a comic book person, I'm looking for what I read and saw that was like my thing.
Right.
Changing his skin tone distracts me from who he is, from what I remember. Now the skin tone don't mean nothing, and his outfit look whack. So now he don't even look dope. You know what I mean? And the dude was giving ideas. He was like, if you're gonna change him like this, do this, make it like that. Like, he was just like, yo, if he gonna be black, make him look sweet.
Talking about the Watchmen.
Yeah,
on HBO.
No. Talking about the Marvel What If series.
Oh,
the Watcher.
Okay.
You know how the Watchers all look like babies.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They all like pale babies.
Okay.
And they made one of them black.
Gotcha.
Like the main one who gets involved with stuff. They made him black.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And it was like,
I'm not familiar.
Right. The part that threw me, and this is my point, is that this white dude was complaining about this, and I was like, I don't know a bunch of black people that even watched it for them to gain something from seeing their own skin color.
And it's also like, well, if we made fucking Loki an Asian, wouldn't that hit different?
Yeah.
Then we'd be saying something about Asians. Like, if we made fucking Superwoman a Jew, well, now we saying something about Jews. Well, you know, like, no matter, whenever you do some shit like change some shit like that we all know, you always gonna be fucking it up, good or bad. You know, because it's what we know. And in a world where, like, what we know is comfortable and safe, when you start doing that, you're gonna make some people uncomfortable and low-key angry.
I think a great example of that, of what we're talking about, is The Color Purple, the original The Color Purple movie, compared to the book. I'm just finding out literally like 2 days ago that Sophie wasn't in a sexual lesbian relationship with the other lady, with Suge. She was a lesbian she was a lesbian the entire time. Celie. Celie never had a connection to men like that, period.
First of all, right. You gotta think about who wrote it.
Right.
And what she's trying to express.
I literally did the whole thing with that. Where she's like, these are real people. Where this woman grew up.
Not all of us were fucking men back in this time. A lot of us were fucking each other.
A lot of men were too. That's why I'm like, y'all was touching each other. Y'all was practicing with the kids. It was a lot of stuff going on.
All kind of dynamics were happening.
So to not show certain things because,
but nobody,
and then lie about why.
Yeah. And then we made the movie, and then we made the musical, and nobody, you know, what doesn't. different subject, but what doesn't sell is two black women loving each other. They can love each other like sisters. They can hold each other down in those kind of spaces, but they don't get to be in love. And what got fucked up in the story of Color Purple was we took that away, and that is why we're in the room. That is why we're here. You know what I mean?
But that's why I was like, wait, when you take away the one part of this person's personality or characteristics, you literally change the story completely. Because now it wasn't that her relationship with this man was contentious because he wasn't shit.
And he also was.
And he wasn't shit.
Yes. But also because she's a lesbian.
A part of his anger and frustration was because she didn't have nothing for him.
Right.
She didn't even grow to have something for him because she ain't got nothing for him. No. That's a part of the story that needs to be told for us straight men who love lesbian women.
Period.
It just needs to be, hey, bro, you can't be beating on her and thinking she's gonna love you one day.
Yeah,
it's
that's not how that works.
Happen.
Yeah.
And then, because when I watched the original movie, I was like, okay, she fell in love with Suge because he was in love with Suge and she just followed after him.
Sure.
I didn't even give her own agency, like you said, to have her own agency because I saw it as this abused woman who never had her own agency.
Special needs.
Right.
You know, like they're always making Celie some kind of special needs woman when really what she's working through is finding out that she is a lesbian and being in this crazy abusive relationship with a man who doesn't treat women at all like their own people. Like even with being in love with Suge, he doesn't give Suge her own agency. Right. You know, he's trying to figure out even with Suge why it's not working. It's because, well, first of all, Suge sees men as means and she holds her love for Celie. Right. You know, and he was only able to give her that kind of room because of the color of her skin. Because she was sexy. And because she's fucking gorgeous.
And but once again, I'm coming from when I watched it. Sure. So she was upbeat. She was with it. She wasn't. She wasn't down and out. She wasn't. Oh, I'm ugly. She wasn't beating herself up. Right. I saw it that way. Like he saw a more dynamic woman that he couldn't keep up with. And he already had a less dynamic woman who couldn't keep up with him. Yeah. I was seeing that. So they literally wedged this dude in this lesbian relationship. Yeah. Instead of it being separate like it should have been.
And also, the color purple is the lesbian's color. That's how we know each other. You know, that's an old school thing. Women knew each other for their sexual proclivities because they were wearing the color purple.
I thought it was green, or that changed. It was purple.
Purple. Also, fun fact: Alice Walker and Tracy Chapman were lovers.
I'm on the freaky side of life. I be wanting to see stuff. You know, I'd have watched that online. I'd have typed that into my incognito search.
Nuggets. Oh yeah. Chicken. Nuggets. Whoa! Chicken. Nuggets. Yeah! Sweet and sour. Nuggets! Sweet and sour. Chicken!
Can't you layer the chicken nuggets on top of each other too?
Yeah.
Come on, son. Come on, man.
I already did it.
Chicken. But you gotta layer on. Nuggets.
No, you do it.
I'm trying.
It's 10 o'clock at night.
They say I'm bugging the way I'm top sweating your loving. Ooh. They all sit and wonder why this feeling I can't